There you go. Let's look for stuff and see what's working, what's not working. Let's look for stuff and see what's working, what's not working. Working. Because I feel like playing music, because YouTube hasn't gotten mad at me yet, I'm gonna do that. It's gonna take me a minute to get in a bit of a groove. I'm in a bit of a rush tonight because I planned poorly. So I'm just gonna relax the best I can and get my head into what I'm doing and go from there. Slow. It might be worth running with. I changed a few things on my interface to try to make it a little bit easier to see on stream, so we'll see if that helps. If anything, I'm just going to use this as a test to see if those things properly show up. And if I don't get confused driving with the weird artifacts, shouldn't be that big of a deal. What's too bad about the multi-class field is that by having so few cars, you end up having kind of like nothing to do for a long time because the fields are going to be too small. So that's okay. Wonderful. I love how no one pays attention to not dive on cars at the end of a straightaway because everyone's turning. Doesn't matter how many times you tell them, they never get overlap before the turn in, they just dive to the bottom because that's brilliant. That's how turns work. Yeah, more horsepower doesn't make your decision making smarter. No, no tire pressure, so that's okay. Not how turning works. Not trying to beat a car before the turn. Again. Trying to brake in the same spot on a stuck tire in the wet. It's cold, it's slick. It means car doesn't stop. It won't stop there either. Rotation out of that. Same here too. Oh, I'm not expecting anyone to turn up today. It's kind of the same as what we had last Tuesday. Oh, hey, what's up, Lenny? What's up, buddy? Just driving in slicks in the rain because it started raining. Yeah, can't complain. Can't complain. We decided to do a little impromptu multi-class race over at Nazar's, so a bunch of folks are jumping in different cars, just doing like a 50-minute multi-class, so I figured it'd be a good opportunity to do some streaming and driving around. I don't know what you're talking about there. Last episode of It's Not the Car. I've never heard of that. Sounds interesting. Sounds like a racing thing. Oh, right, yeah. I know Russ's podcast. Yeah. I watch his stuff. I used to live near him. Yeah, he lived in Snohomish when I lived in Bothell. Oh yeah, Russ's stuff is amazing. Oh yeah, it's raining a ton, so. Oh yeah, dude, Ross's stuff is great. Like, top tier all the time. I learned a lot from him directly. So, big influence. Yeah, the race server just starts in 4 minutes. So, I need to get like a big clock actually for my office. I'm going to do that. Make it easier to see time. But yeah, the race server starts in 4 minutes, so I'm gonna just messing around on mixed mass tires till then. Ah, love this track. It's really all about discipline. The S's are the only really hard part, I think. And then the rest of it is, you know, kind of like patience to hit the apex and stuff, but the rest of it isn't inherently too bad. Yeah, I'm like that with a lot of tracks. Like, I kind of don't like them until I've run enough laps to get a feel for the rhythm, and then once I do that, I'm like, oh, I love fill in the blank. So I feel ya. No shame not liking COTA. I used to be like that with Snetterton. Used to hate that track until one day I spent a day in the Porsche Cup car, and then I was like, oh my god, this track makes sense. Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? Yeah, exactly. Honestly, COTA, I feel like you can break down into 3 sections. It's the S's, where you basically don't overrun turn 4 and get a rhythm from 4 to 9. It's the back straight, which is basically a hairpin with a straight in the middle, which is 11 and 12. And then 13, 14, 15 is basically trail braking paradise and the quad corner at the end. So if you break it down into kind of like those 3 sectors, I at least find it's a little easier to get around. Because a lot of people push too hard in the S's, and they're out of rhythm the whole time. And so then the car never really settles down, and then they're like, oh, I hate COTA, because they've either track limited themselves into hell, or they can never really figure out the rhythm. But the backside of the track is pretty straightforward. Trail break into 13. Trail break into 15. And then the quad apex, which is like basically try to get on power as early as possible. Roll momentum. I'm only okay at it. A couple areas I kind of struggle carrying the right amount of momentum. Like in turn 20. A lot of people don't actually get any rotation in turn 1. They just try to turn at it and they wonder why the exit sucks. A lot of people rush here in turn 4 because it breaks the straight line there. And then they're not in place for this section because they didn't manage the entry into 4. So the whole rest of it sucks. They don't use momentum here in 8 or 7. Yeah. Alright. And then 11 is really wide, so you know you want to trail for that and use all the road, and most people don't do that. They just go to the bottom because they see a turn here. Same for 12, but this is just the same corner on the reverse side. A little bit of trailing in there, fill the cup up full of water, keep some momentum there. Use that momentum here to get the car to rotate. So trail brake and light brake. And then here, let the car flow on its own. Brake a little early there so you can get the nose in so that you can let the car rotate there on its own there too. And then make sure you hit the apex here so that the car rolls out into 20. See? Got it. Yeah, easy to say, hard to do, right? So, but every corner is effectively the same, right? Like every corner is effectively, there's only so many degrees for a turn, right? If you're going into a turn and you lose control immediately, you just need to brake earlier. You know, conceptually, spilled my water there, but no worries. Conceptually, you can pretty much break down any track anywhere to the same general concept, right? Is, am I taking it in a U or am I taking it in a V? And then connect those corners together. And then whatever corner causes the car the most grief first when you get off the brakes, first place to start. So at least that's how I work my way around tracks. You know what? I'm gonna drop this for just a second because ACC doesn't like it when you try to calibrate stuff when you're in it. It's a great game, by the way. Thanks, goodness. I like my Mosa hardware, but the only thing I don't like is that I have to calibrate every time. Yeah, exactly. It's always refine, 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 and that's where sim racers lose. Like that. That's where they kind of have the hardest time, right? Is that they don't really think about the fact that racing is just refine, 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 and so they get frustrated in the fundamental component of it, and then they end up never focusing on the refinement, right? They just end up saying, "Oh, I struggle with this part of the track," and then they don't go, "Well, why?" And they don't go, "What phase in the corner am I struggling?" And they don't back it up so that it makes sense. They just go, "Oh, this sucks," and then they move on. So they never learn the fundamental technical concept of how to get the car through the turn. They just use it as an excuse. And I'm a big proponent of like personal responsibility yields lap time. So, you know. All right, why do you keep failing this calibration? Yep, you totally do. You totally do. Like, when I go to drive LMU, I always struggle driving LMU or iRacing because for like the first, I don't know, 20 minutes, hour, it takes me a minute to figure out like what the tire is telling me. But the way I try to tell people to think about it is try to treat it like you're driving on a different set of compound of tires, right? So oh, it's because I've got the caps on. Driving ACC's Pirellis is going to be different than driving AMU's tires. And so if you treat it like a different compound, like a difference between a Nanking or a Falcon or, Yokohama, they're all going to respond differently when you load them up, right? So you've got to listen to what that tire is telling you. You've got to respond to what that tire is telling you accordingly. And then you go from there. You don't just treat it as one size fits all because that's not how tires work. Oh, shit. Okay, so we're going to make a couple of quick changes here, and then we'll calibrate accordingly. So 60, okay, so we'll call that 60, 62, and then I'll go from there. Alright, I gotta go check tire pressure, and then I gotta go check a few things. What's the split? It's going to be 9 to 10. Okay. All right. Another club race size. That's good. I'm just going to go out with full fuel because I just need to check tire pressure. Oh, by the way, Lenny, I changed the bottom footer and like a couple small elements because I haven't gotten around to learning stream elements yet. Is this a little easier to see stuff where it's like not so widescreeny? Oh, amazing. Perfect. Thanks, man. See? You're making it too expensive. This is straight right down here, and this GT3 could just wait. But instead, he's going to do this. And then miss the turn completely, because... Exactly! That's not how turn shapes work, you guys! God damn it. God. That is so ridiculous. Yeah, Loic, I wonder who helped me with that. this is going to be a GT3 mess, I can already tell. You're going to have half the GT3s who's not going to even know how to make the apex, and then the other half, they're going to pass in dumb places. It's going to be a busy day. Yeah, well, it almost happened right out of turn 1, so it didn't even take very long. So what I gotta not do this time around is not give myself 2 track cuts here, because that really hurt my race last time. Oh yeah, I might go check on that. Yeah, I agree. I was just silly and used all mine in like one section being selfish, because COTA's got that really tight 8-9 combo area where all of a sudden you can cut needlessly. It was just totally my fault, but it's still stupid. And 2.2. Staying out of the wheel. Oh, sure. Worst 8 and 9. Okay, a little high on the rears. Yeah, I figures on a time lap, the GT3 catches up right then. Excellent. Yeah, that's true. Like, it can be a little frustrating, but it can also be easy to kind of figure out after a bit. So. It's the first time I've actually been running with over 60 liters in the car because I've been doing these short sprint races. So that's something to keep in mind. I've been sloppy in kind of places because I've been carrying all this fuel. That's why I went out with race fuel this time. Oh, hold on, babe. 1 second. Oh, we're doing a lot of things at once. Oh, let me pull in the pits. I'll answer your question. Where's my face? There's my face. What's up?
Did you go in the bedroom?
Yeah.
The cats got out.
Oh no.
They fucking attacked Marley.
Oh no.
I threw them in the garage.
Oh god.
But they both like jumped in together. So I don't know if it's okay. But it's horrible.
Alright, I have returned. We had a cat emergency. Hey, Sergio. We've got two cats that don't get along with one another, and they got out because I was not attentive with the door. That is my fault. Yeah, as well as it can be anyway. Yeah, mother-in-law's cats and our cats have never really gotten along, and normally we have to be really diligent on making sure doors are closed, and I thought I had a door closed that wasn't closed, and that's a big old mess. Yeah, I think so. We'll check them over tomorrow. But we have 6 cats in my house, and 4 of them get along okay, but one of them does not. So that can be a real nightmare. It's actually really stressful. Like, it's nice to have a house and everything, but those little slip-ups put a damper on things after a little bit. So, oh man. So I think I'm just gonna wing qualifying because I have no time to figure out what the car needs. That's okay. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother going out for these 3 minutes. Sorry, I'm breaking all the rules and eating. Yeah, well, we have 3 cats. We have Senna, Damon, and Enzo. And then when my mother-in-law moved out of her house, she was going to take her 3 cats with her and never did. So we kind of ended up adopting 3 originally family cats. And, you know, with 3 of those cats that live here, that was kind of their territory. And then, of course, my cats come here. Yeah. Well, normally we're able to like isolate cats away when we have guests, especially if they have allergies and stuff. But it is just it gets really complicated very quickly. You know, like when we go on trips, we have to make sure that 2 of the cats have food and water and are kind of like on solitary confinement, basically, and then the other cats get the run of the house. Oh man, 3 of them are like 12, 13, 14. And then Senna is 5. Damon is... Actually, no, I've been married 7 years. So Senna will be almost 7. Damon is a little bit over 5. And Enzo's almost 4? Yeah. But if I'm running between rooms, I'm normally really good at closing doors, and I just didn't. So... Yes, they are. Yep. So it becomes a slightly annoying thing because then she ended up getting 3 dogs after she moved. So there's rationalizing that. Oh, hi, Oakley. Hi, Karina and Davin both say hi. We love both your kids, Sergio. How is the little one? How's the newest one? Well, pretty much any multi-focus I had is out the window. So we'll see how this goes now. No. How old is she? When was she born? December? Fair enough. Well, you're a hero because that's your second one, right? So. Oh. That's adorable. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna use this. Oh, geez, man. That is a lot of infant. Well, the fun part is we're going to also have GT3s running at the same time, so that'll be exciting. Yeah, well, I miss you, man. I don't know where my teammate went. Well, I mean, I know where my teammate went, but I miss you. I haven't driven with you in months. I think with this little fuel in the car, I can do 2 runs. So I can do one to figure out if I got the tires in the right window, completely guessing, and then maybe one to... Yeah, good plan. You know, I definitely actually have thought about putting an input overlay in. I just haven't because I'm slowly working on my real estate for streaming one thing at a time. So I've got one that I use. I just aren't putting everything all at once, so it's not messy. Great. Thank you, GT3, not paying attention for no reason. Thank you. So wonderful. Yeah, it's so stupid. The rules to overtake are literally exactly the same. Get alongside a car before it enters the turn, not while it's in the turn. Don't try to beat a car to the bottom of the turn, because it's already physically there and turning. It's not hard, but these guys never pay attention. You can tell them as many times as you want, but they're always just like, oh, send it. It's got to be center. Got to send it to the bottom. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. It's not like there's a pattern to passing cars. It's not like it's a consistent, repeatable, and, you don't see it all the time. Heaven forbid. Oh, here comes another one to ruin a great lap. Thomas, no. Like, just, I swear to God. Like, no one reads the frickin' driving code of conduct on how to be around other cars. It's so ridiculous. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna let this one go. Alright. So ridiculous. So stupid. 1.7 up, and you're just like, oh, let me just drive in the back of him. Like, just so ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. Let me just dive bomb and invalidate my lap and mess up yours. You don't even make the turn. You just drive right off the road. So it's like, not only are you not paying attention, but then you ruin both your lap and the other guy's lap. It's just silly. It's like, welcome to wasting everybody's time. Yeah, yeah, LMP3 dentist, 100%. GT3 is the new LMP3 confirmed. 100%. 1.6. Might be able to get something. Yeah. It really won't matter. Just want to get off the back row because it'd be nice to not be completely hosed one time. Oh, look. A GT3 driver who knows what a straight line looks like. Sensational. Oh, really? Oh, really. Amazing. The one time I did need a check cut. Sensational. Sensational. Yeah, and then of course, then I do 9 and 10 correct and have 4/10 in pocket, which would have been awesome. That's... I don't know what I did to the universe to... Amazing. Amazing. Alright, well. Yeah, COTA is really vicious with it too. I'm gonna try, but I don't think I have enough time. Nah, I'm not gonna make it back with enough time. Yeah, well, at least the race will be interesting, I guess. Thanks, Sergio. I appreciate seeing you, dude. Yeah, for sure. Well, at least Randy's back here with me, so... Yeah. Okay, at least we know we're up here on the stop, so that's something. Oh well. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. I will. I will. I think I will be buying lots of chocolate and forgive me gifts tomorrow for sure. That's 61. Okay. I'm gonna throw something on more relaxing because I feel like most folks are not gonna be paying attention almost at all. And I could use something relaxing after the time I just gave myself. Yeah, well. You can't just let them think it's okay, because otherwise they're going to sit around and be like, oh, blah, 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 the GT4 was in my way. I didn't check to see if he was on a valid lap. I just, blah, blah, blah. Dove stupid. And then not only did it stupid, but, like, didn't even do it well. Like, if you're going to fucking ruin someone's lap, at least make the turn and then go. But, hell. What do I know? Just fucking, just driving a car over here. Oh, wow. I am being so dumb. Because we have a pit stop. And the calculation is 61, so I'm doing 65, 63, and, or 33, and 32 is 65 plus a stop in the middle. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, ruined every one of my qualifying laps. That was silly. Well, we will have fun anyway. Something good must come out of something silly. Yeah. Well, the cars that are immediately around me, with the exception of Randy, I'm quicker than. So we'll see. We will see. Yeah, I gotta remember also not worry about the damage so much and turn it off if I get touched here in the beginning because it's a GT4. Doesn't need that much. Yeah, I think given where we are, taking your time is the best strategy. Also remember the start of the race is going to be staggered because of the GT3 start, so it's going to start before. Probably going to start before you think. That's kind of what I was waiting for. Why are we stopping? Why are we stopping? Yeah, I guess. I think this Ferrari here got spun early on. But even if they are going last to first, they're doing a clumsy ass job. Needs to stop getting on the throttle so early. Oh yeah, okay. This is nice. Looks expensive up there. Got a card bottling us up. Where's that Camaro going? It would be really great if we wouldn't turn into other cars' blind spots. No, you know what? I'm done doing that. I've been doing that all week. No more. I know what the problem is. Oh, same thing every time that Camaro does that. Goes too fast into 15 and blows by the apex. Doesn't brake early enough. This is silly. Seeing Ryan. Alright. Thank you for being kind, Randy. He's one of the only guys you can trust to actually pay attention. wanted to use it. But no more after that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he's probably mad at me for being so slow there. Yeah, he's probably like, go, Devin, go. I never looked. I don't know if it makes sense to do a single set on one. Oh, that's that after. See if anyone else did it. I'm gonna grab tires, but a little far forward. We'll find out. Let's see if he tries to do something silly under brakes again. Because that's what he did the last time. And you could just wait to this long ass straightaway right here. There we go. See, I had to manage him to get him to go over there, but because he wanted to go down the inside of freaking 11. But doesn't get back on the racing line for some strange reason. Like, you know, he's far enough ahead of me, I'm not going to hit him. He might as well have used all the road. But misses the apex down there, so he thinks for chance he doesn't know where it is. Oh, amazing. That's great when a faster car tries to outturn a slower one, because that makes sense. You see all that time it'll cost me? Why are we dying? Why are we dying? Dear GT3, please make the turn. That guy needs to go to our overtaking clinic. That was a silly place to pass that car. I'm gonna make a bet that he didn't take tires. Because he was pretty far back. But we'll run. Get out of here. Plus we have 15 moves left, so we don't need to try to rush. That's a terrible intake there. It'll come to you on its own. Okay, fair enough. Alright, I won't do it again. I just get greedy there. That's my best friend. Mr. I don't know how to read the racing rules. And that downshift protection can be kind of hard when you're in a group. Okay, well, I hadn't quite made it to the turn yet, so And the Brad's luck's been great these last few races. You're not going to pull away all of a sudden, you know? Well, that seemed like a dive that didn't work out. Nice struggle there. I'm really sad if I give myself a DT with 5 minutes to go. It'd be so frustrating. So let's not manifest that. idea either. At least two. Oh, Jesus. There it is. Love for it to come back. I don't know where my tires went, but they are so gone. Oh, wonderful. One cut back up. That's not what I wanted. Did I just get lucky with desperate GT3s? Oh my god. Why did you cut back over on the racing line at the last fucking minute, Matt? God, man. Jesus. I don't know what happened to the tires at the end, but that's a pretty close P3 I've ever had one. Oh my god. Mm. Wow, that's P3. That's good. That's good. I got kind of lucky there in the end. I have no idea where my pace went on the last half of that stint, man. It's like I had no tires. It's like they just all were gone. Boop, 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 boop. Sorry. I'm about to jump into maybe a debrief. We'll see. See how this is going. And then we'll make it short, and I'll go check on the Wi-Fi.
Hello, Devin.
Hey.
You were like driver of the day, man.
Thank you.
You were just cooking people over.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Man, well, it didn't help that I got screwed in qualifying and had to start from the back. Like, God.
I was gonna say, I was like, how did I?
Well, you know what? When you have powerful cars that could pass on the exit and you guys could get some damn overlap before cars would turn, it would make life a lot easier.
Yeah, that was a repetitive problem the whole time.
Dude,
every GT3 that tried to pass me was on corner entry.
It's so
like,
ridiculous. Just
doing?
pass on the exit, guys. You've got way more power, and there's straights
Keep close
abound.
to the corner and then step away.
Yeah.
You're trying to pass me in the S's or in T11 or
Yep.
in fucking T12.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
fuck's
Yep.
sake.
Yep. Those rules of
There
engagement.
was one that was especially problematic. He did it twice to me.
Yep. There's
Okay.
one. There's one that actually did it to me in the 14th or 15 through 19. Completely screwed up a pole lap I was on because for some reason he just
Same
decided
guy,
to
by the way.
throw it on the inside while I'm turning. Like, I'm only frustrated because we have these conversations. I've been talking to you guys about this for like 4 years. We have these conversations every freaking race. Overlap's a thing. You need to be able to be seen. Like, I don't understand when you have more power. It's easier. Like, I don't. It is very frustrating because some of you know better. Like, jeez, man.
Nice race, Landry.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Dude, Michael, you and Matt saved me at the end there because I was running out of tires and I was like, oh my god, I'm running out of laps. I would need some sort of divine miracle. And here comes Matt and Michael coming in like freaking meteors. I was like, oh, thank God we're in turn 11. Thank God. No, everyone's going on the entry for some reason, but that works for me because I'm not there. Goodbye.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
If I was a little bit more patient on the aeropin at the end, I think I could. Well, I'd be close on the straight. There was just too much GT4.
Yeah, I really squeezed you in there. I was like, you're not having this.
Oh,
You're not diving me.
by the way, Matt, I'm just going to give you a quick PSA tip for the next time you're leading a race and don't want to die. Try not to jump back on the racing line once you pass a car. I almost killed you. Because like right when you got by me, all you had to do was brake and go left, and you jumped right in front of a car that has to brake longer than you, and I almost murdered you. I was like, I can't stop that. I'm in a what? Right, but just like you already did the move, just go left. I was like, okay.
Right.
So
Stay over.
yeah, just because you weren't gonna, Michael. It would have worked better for you, right? Because you would have been able to tighten the corner off. And then Michael's not going to be able to do anything because there are two cars in front of him, me and you.
Right.
So just go left. And then I'm going to be on his exit, and it's going to ruin his life. So just stay next to me, and I will help you. But I was like, nah, you cut me out. I literally checked out on the exit on 12. I said, get him, Michael, fine. Because I could have just gone straight and helped you, and I was like, no more. No more help for you. Yeah.
I just have a quick question for Landry.
Yeah.
The beginning of the race, I guess something happened and you were trying to catch up.
Oh no, he went to the back.
No,
on
I went
purpose.
to the back.
Oh, you went to the back on purpose.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Landry,
Be Slater.
Landry went to the back on purpose. Somebody else didn't go to the back on purpose, and so that was exciting.
Well, I'm just saying, I understand you're faster than I am, but please don't blink me.
Let's see here.
I blink you because you overshot 2 corner and was in front of you.
Okay? And I understand that.
I will say,
But
actually,
blinking me is
I actually will say, Frankie, that actually does kind of work to your benefit, because what it does is, as the faster car's approaching, it's like, hey, you missed the corner and I'm coming. So just like be aware, because those closing speeds will come very quickly because you're kind of in the middle of nowhere and he's rolling up on you. So it doesn't mean for you to do anything different. It's just like a, hey man, just be aware, like I'm here, please know I'm here. And
Oh, no, I was watching MFP this race.
yeah. But I'm just like letting you know, because like I do the same thing. Like, I mean, I did the same thing to GT3. It's like they would cut me off and I would flash at them to be like, hey bro, I'm here, just know that I'm here, please be aware. But I don't have to move. I'm a physical car in a virtual space, please don't kill me.
If I will have not move after the straight, those 2 corner after the straight, you will have kill me again. So that's why I flash.
Yeah, a lot of times it's just for your like information. It's just like, hey, please don't
I
move.
get it. I'm just saying, if there's somebody's faster than me and I know it, I will let them by. I'm not going to block them on purpose.
Man, I want to say my driver of the race is freaking Brian Slater. That man was cooking. I did everything in my power and I could not catch him.
Yeah.
He was so fast. 17-1? Like, holy crap.
Yeah, he was moving, dude. He was really moving.
Put extra nitro on the fuel.
I believe it.
No, look at Davin's car. Test his fuel tank.
Sorry, I was mad. I had a bit of a cat drama. No, to be honest, I had a bit of a cat drama during qualifying. So one of my cats got out and attacked another cat, so that was distracting. And then in qualifying, I got run off the road by every GT3 I've ever met. So that was frustrating. So in the race, I was like, I'm going. I'm going. Please move. I'm going.
right after you got past me, Devin, when we were in the S's,
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on. I thought you were like trying to eat a donut or something. And I was like, that's not Devin. What's going on?
Yeah. No, I was just driving really hard. I was just in an irritated mood. All right, so I got one replay from Nitten. If you guys have other ones, send them to me, and I'll take a look. Let's see, Curse 7.
Secretary Bryant.
Yeah, that's.
Devin, I would like to see when I passed you, just so I.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I can look it up myself.
Yeah, send it to me just so I don't forget. But I would be happy to take a look at that.
Yeah.
Okay. Car. Was it Car 7 at 940? Okay. What happened to Nitten? What happened to him? What happened? Oh, it's probably at the start. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Okay.
Is that right
It's
near
lap
the
2.
end?
Huh?
Lap 2, P1.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the one I sent in. Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
I
Matt,
think
you.
that's on me, but I just want to be sure.
And then Matt, you had a question for me too.
Was that right near the end when I?
Yeah, it was like the last lap. Yeah,
okay.
It was the last lap on the back straight. Okay, here's Nitten. Push the button a few more times, Devin, why don't you? All right.
Yeah.
What? You don't have my livery?
No, I'm emotionally distant from people that I don't see very often.
Oh.
Oh.
Saw that coming.
Well, okay. So, rule of engagement time. Well, actually, let's be a little more plain here. Can Rob see you?
No.
So how would he know where to go unless he misses the turn completely?
Well, my thinking was, I've been alongside him for most of the straight, and I thought, okay, and as alongside as I started braking, and I thought, okay, so maybe there'll be a space at the apex.
But Nitten, you have the least amount of room at the end of the straightaway at the highest speed behind a car in front that has to make the turn at some point. Like, that's giving the car ahead no time to negotiate for you unless you want him to actively miss the turn to accommodate for the unknown amount of space you need to fill to make it. Because he won't know even if you make the turn at all. So survey says responsibility has to be on the passing car making that move. You can't go into your turn with the assumption that the lead car is just going to not make the turn or not turn to give you all of the space when you don't have overlap with that car before you get started. If you're next to him, like alongside where he can see you driver's left, sure. But like at best, let's just go up the straightaway a couple seconds. You know, at best, we're already in the turn now, right? So let's back up a little.
Okay, yeah,
Right.
go back. Like,
Because we're already...
just until the braking. So
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to clarify.
Let's see where we are.
Because I felt like when we got on the brakes, I felt like I had sufficient overlap, and you know.
Nope. Nope, you didn't. Right, this is where you immediately start braking. He can't see you. There's no way to give right to room because he has no idea where you are. Are you up and next to his door? Are you down on the bottom of the turn? Are you coming in at full speed? Did you brake in the right point? I have none of that information. I have no idea what you were doing. So the only safe way for both of us to make the turn with no information is to miss the turn entirely and never turn. And you can never let the lead car assume he should never turn to make the turn. Right? So that's why you want to get that overlap done up the straight, right? Where like you can see each other as you're going into turn one, and you could like look at him and he can look at you before you even get to the turn, because he's got to avoid this car in front of him, right? Rob's got the same problem. The only one that's actually on the line is Michael, and everyone else is sort of trying to adjust to not die. So, you know, with these three cars, you want to be like, hey, I'm the third car chasing, you know, two cars into the turn. I'm the farthest back and the farthest off the racing line, which means I have to brake the earliest. And I was never alongside in a visible way to the car in front, and he is definitely not alongside the car in front of him. So no.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yo.
Would this be with the assumption that the person doesn't have the MFD or the radar?
That doesn't matter. You should be able to see them and look. Right? Like, don't use the MSD as a crutch, because again, I don't have that information. What do I do with 0.0 amount of space? Still miss the turn? How much do I miss it by? I can't negotiate for you because I can't see you. And I also can't then just slow down until you are visible so that I can avoid the turn, because that means I bailed out of the turn completely to make you visible to then turn. If that's the case, I'm just going to pull up on everybody's blind spot every time, and they better pull over for me. Because how are you supposed to know? You don't have that data. Right? Making yourself visible is the clearest way to make yourself, you know, to give that other opponent that data. You can see the car, so you know how much to negotiate by. But with this, I don't know. I mean, the MFD could be flashing 0-0, and I still don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
You know, because also, like, what happens if you screw it up? Now everyone's dead. Because there's no way for the cars around to negotiate if you get it wrong. Let's pretend Nitin just completely misses the turn. Can't brake. Right? That's where the risk comes in. You're at the highest speed at the end of the straightaway with the least amount of room, because you're about to go into a turn. And you're assuming you did everything correctly, but you don't know yet. So now you fuck up. Right? You missed the brake point by, let's just call it 5 feet. You know, innocuous if you're giving room, but deadly if you're all in a group. Now what does everybody do? Do we just hope Nitin makes the turn and then decide to turn? Like, no, Rob's got to turn. So, you know, the car behind's putting himself in a super blind spot and not communicating to the car ahead, where the car ahead can't make that judgment call. So he's going to turn, and then we die. It's going to happen every time.
I think you tried to back out of it because I was already in the turn. You hit my quarter panel.
Yeah, but that's what's even worse, right? Like, the farther you are off the racing line, the earlier you have to brake. It's the empirical rule of physics. It's just a thing of how it works, right? And so, like, if you want to get someone under the brakes, you want to be next to them on the straightaway, like alongside them on the straightaway, so that you can brake along with them and manage them out. You don't want to try to beat them to the bottom of the turn, because you still have to turn more at the bottom of the corner, which scrubs your entry anyway. And then even if you beat him, your entry is going to be such shit, because you have to turn more. Your angle is super sharp. So this is not only expensive, like you're on the narrow side going up a hill with the exit that's tighter on the other side. Your entry would have been completely screwed no matter what you did. Right? So even if you make it here, you're going to have to be like a total asshole. You're going to have to like get off the brakes and then like crowd him out onto the exit to even properly rotate your car and make the turn. Like it's not viable. If you had gotten this done 15 feet earlier, sure. Yeah, 100%. Send that shit. But here, nah. Please don't.
Yeah,
That's
actually
fair, yeah.
almost had a really good pass on Slater their first lap.
Ah, neat. Neat. All right. So Matt's got another one here. So 5830, car 14. Okay, so Matt, this was just an easy one. Just don't do this. Yeah. Exactly. Please don't do this because again, like the one constant theme that I've noticed with a lot of folks, and this is just not for Matt, is you have too much trust in the people around you that they won't fuck up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what happens if I fuck up? You're in the most important spot that everyone is coveting, right? So don't, and you've got a rocket ship behind you. Don't fuck it up. And now,
I was just focusing so hard on Landry behind.
right?
I just wanted to get back on the racing line so I could.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm running for a podium. I'm not lifting. If I lift, Casey's gonna run me over. So sucks, Matt. I'm staying on the gas, right? And you've got more horsepower than me, and you've got corner control over them than me, and you've driven by me. The overlap is over. You've already done past me. So now it's like, oh, let me cut this car off, and we're about to go into a brake zone, right? So now, what if Davin brakes wrong? What if Davin doesn't accommodate for that early braking I need to do because now there's a car in front of me? Right? Into the shadow realm, you die. And what if Davin's petty? What if Davin doesn't like Matt? Right? Oh, well, you know what? I just didn't feel like stopping. Boop. Right? So never, ever put your car in a situation where someone else can influence your race. Just stay to the left. And if you stay to the left, I'm just going to look at him and be like, oh, hey, way to go, Matt. Go, let it go. Right?
It's so funny because if you were another GT3 in that situation, no way I would have ever done anything like that. But just being like the overpowered car, I don't know. I didn't think about it.
Right, your life's easier, but your ego gets too much in the way, and then you kind of drive like an asshole. Like, to be frank about it, right? All the GT3s that keep bogarting slow cars, you're just driving like total assholes. But I can affect your race because I'm a freaking car.
Yeah.
A
thing in space.
A thing in space, yeah! You know, it happened once in the beginning of the race for us. We were in a chain of 3, and a GT3 tried to drive around the outside of 3 cars all in a big battle, which is silly, by the way. And I just was like, you're just lucky that none of us, like, we're all driving better than you are, to be frank. Right? And we all moved over to avoid this missile of an insane thing that almost wiped out 3 cars just because they couldn't be patient when they have more horsepower and there's a damn straight happening and not even 15 seconds. Right? Like, it's not, and like, they're not under threat, they're not racing anybody, they're not doing anything, they're just being an impatient asshole. And I'm just like, brother, we're racing, you're driving.
Yeah.
The fuck? You know? But for you, it's such a minor tweak. It's just like, what happens if it's not me, right? Like, what happens if it's a worse driver, right? Like, they don't know where to brake, you freak them out, they get target fixation, like, the list goes on and on and on of the millions of different ways that you don't win this race because you did this, right? I just go straight on. What if I get hit from the car behind because the KC starts to get excited and says, oh, fuck, I can pass him, right? And he hits me. He just hits me. And I'm out of control completely and then destroys you. You die. Right? So, like, because you don't have any of that information. You don't know where Casey is. Casey could have been much closer. Right? And then what happens if I get wiped out? Then you get wiped out. And Michael's like, well, free win for me. That sucks. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
Hey, Devin.
Yo.
How far ahead is he to the next car?
Well, he's like 0.7. So, even more so, like, here, you have no threat. Like, you were...
I mean the car behind him, sorry.
Oh, 15 seconds. So, even more. Right? Even more. Like, okay, so like if this was like 0.1 and you guys are battling like nose to tail for the lead or something, then you want to defend like we're all in the same lap together because then it'll block the road, right? And under this, you're under absolutely no threat because you're going to make it into the turn by the time Michael even gets there, even if you drive like complete garbage. So he's not going to catch you, and then you can manage him for the rest of the lap because unless he just like sends the living shit out of it, right? Yep. You're good. You won already. Right, you won at whatever happened in turn 11 when you guys all got clobber together because I just saw a bunch of impatience there. You won there. You as soon as you got to turn 11 and I saw your car come out first all alone, I was like, oh, Matt won. Good for him.
Right.
And then he got in front of me. I was like, I guess he doesn't want to win. Nope. My bad. So.
Thing too, Matt, is if you're that far ahead of a guy, check your see how far ahead you are. Don't risk yourself. Like, why would you do a risk like that? I know what you were doing. You're just like, oh yeah, Mario Andretti, I can pass this.
It's muscle memory, right? Trying to get on the turn fast. Like, it's literally nothing to do with me. It's literally just muscle memory of like, I need to get into the turn fast. That's all it was. You're on the last lap, man. Fuck fast. You know.
You could have even stayed on the inside, like stayed away from Davin, because that's what I would have done. I would have passed Davin and then just kept that line and turned, because I'm so far ahead of the guy behind me.
Right.
He's not my concern.
Yep.
So I just got to get by Davin and make sure he's not going to kill me, whether it's Davin or anybody. I'm just like, well, what if he makes a mistake?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and when I saw you coming, so I had an eye on you guys back here because I need to show this here. So I don't know why I had no tires at the end, but I didn't. I guess I drove them off the car. And so I'm sitting here wondering to myself, like, what? Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I had no tires. So I'm going into the last turn, and I look at the MFD, and I see 2 cars in the lead lap, and the guys racing me all in one spot. And I'm like, we're going into corner entry, and everyone's approaching me. Thanks for the gift, I guess, but like that's going to cause a lot of you to slow down. Okay, fine. So I get up here, and you see where Matt is? You can see him in the mirror, and you can see Michael back there. So I can see both of you. And I'm like, well, Matt's on not an ideal line because I'm in the way. And Michael's line's even shittier than that. On a long ass straight, Michael's line is fucked. If Matt comes out alone, as long as Matt doesn't hit me, because the only concern I had was you're going to dive into me, because every GT3 seems to want to dive into me. As long as you don't dive into me, you'll lead on the way out because of the positioning you guys are from the racing line. Right? So I'm like, as long as I see a yellow car when I leave, as long as I don't hit this inside curb, I'm okay. Because the only concern I had was you murdering me or me hitting the inside curb and then Casey actually having a good exit. If I hit that curb, I'm done. Right? Because now I have to not be on the gas and he can get on the gas and we're in the same Mercedes. But you squeezed him out, which helped me. And then I drove up the road. So when I saw your car all alone, I was like, oh, that's good for him. He's good. And then he's like, hey, Davin, get fucked. I was like, no!
I didn't say that. I didn't mean that.
Well, by your car positioning, you did. You, like, drove aside with your middle finger out the window, cutting me off. And I was like, oh, I thought we were friends. Okay, never mind. Not spraying on his podium. I'm going home. Yeah.
David, you want to check back? I want to see if I have space to stay on the left.
Sure. I don't think you do, because I think you're in big traffic.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to cut in front of him, so yeah.
But I'm still a little surprised that you turned as much as you did. Like, you know, not to tell you how to drive, Michael, but like, why go to the bottom here? Like, why don't you just turn with him? I would think you would go with him and then be as close to him as possible.
Yeah, I was thinking I might have hit it.
Yeah. 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 When I saw your
pretty much stopped at the apex thinking like, don't hit me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. And like, the thing is that, okay, I'm going to say this in a general statement. This is just not using Michael as an example. I do not understand why the majority of you try to beat cars after the braking action has already started. Like, once you guys get on the brakes, these cars have ABS that are performant along the same. They all brake generally around the same braking zone. And then you progressively go on worse and worse lines while already at the maximum of the car's braking potential and then wondering why you don't make the turn. It just doesn't work that way. Where, like, if you get overlap before you start the braking action, you have ultimate control over everyone around you. But once those rear lights come on, you have to wait. But I see everyone just trying to send it to the bottom and like, this is again, not Michael. This is a theme I see with everyone. Nitton just did it. Michael just did it. Right? Where it's like, brother, the computer is going to say no. So I would then say, hey, we're both in McLarens. Let's fucking go together. I need to be as close as I can to this guy and draft him and put pressure on him for the last few turns because there's a lot of them coming up. Right? And Matt's probably crying on the inside, hoping he could just get away from the Batmobile. So I would be trying to, mimic him as much as possible until I can actually get by. Not desperate. Like, this is desperate, in my opinion. All right? You can't adjust. You can't plan. You can't do very much. So, Anyway, apparently I'm in the mood today because my cats got out, so everyone gets it. So. All right, let's see who's next. All right, let's see. Michael, I think we just did yours. Oh, okay, 15. Okay, 1550 didn't. Okay. So, Landry.
I'm happy that the car didn't hit the apex because
Oh,
it did brake sooner than me, and I was not trying to do that at all.
Sure. All right, let's back up here. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh no. Oh dear. Wow. Ooh.
Nice.
Nitin, did you
Very
Nitin, did you see him?
That's not me.
Oh, okay. Oh, I mean, like I would have. Who did you drove by? Let's see. Is it
That's
Gabe?
Silvio.
Oh, it's Gabe. Okay, it's Gabe here.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
I think he moved a little bit, but he hit the apex.
Yeah,
he
man.
hit the apex.
Yeah, I mean, either we're lucky he moved or we're lucky he missed it. But oh, geez. Yeah, man.
I was gonna move a little bit at the end. I think
I was
he
gonna
moved
go
a
on the
little bit.
inside of Nissan, but then I saw Michael there, like, oh.
I think I'll wait for that. Yeah. Michael, quick question
Can you
for.
just look at the steering inputs real quick?
Yeah, sure. Well, one thing I was curious about is, were you ever gonna go back to the right, Michael, or were you just gonna turn from here?
I was trying to put pressure on the BMW.
Okay.
Area.
No, it's good. You and I have different definitions of how pressure work, I think. but okay. I'm gonna leave that alone because, man, like all I see is a car in a bad line about to murder me. You're fast as shit. I would just sit behind me and just tailgate me, and that'd be enough pressure. But hey, man, you do you. You lap faster than me, so I should probably shut the fuck up. But still, oh man. Nope, he just missed it. You just got lucky. Like, he just missed it. Well, he either missed it or he held it and just said, well, fuck, I'm not turning. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's the other
Can I
thing.
say one more?
Yeah, sure.
Like probably saw his own death.
Yeah, because there might have been.
He's probably mirror watching at this point.
Yeah, there's probably here and just be like, well, fuck this then.
Here, he doesn't turn in fully, then he turns in.
Yeah, and he also doesn't really get.
Definitely saw that.
He doesn't do any maintenance throttle either. He's just kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna, cross my arms, hope I don't die, and then go from there. So for sure.
And it's still insanely lucky that worked.
Insanely lucky that works. All right, I got another one. Car 17 4140 gives a chance to talk to you about expense. Okay, man, I would get on the soapbox about expense today if I fucking could. Like, geez, man.
Oh, this race was full of that.
Dude, most of the multi-lap traffic, y'all GT3s.
Yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah,
I got you.
y'all GT3s with all your money are expensive as fuck, man. Like, I'm just like, geez, help me help you. All right, let's see here. Yeah, this happened to me too.
Same spot?
Yep. Same spot here, and then also on the backside. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. No, I stayed wide because I.
Well, yeah. This bullshit needs to stop now. Yeah. Yeah.
I knew stupid was coming, and I just said nope.
Yep.
Not today, ISIS.
Okay, so the most diplomatic way I can think to say this: these aren't hypercars. This is an LMU. You don't have a prodigious amount of downforce compared to the GT4s in a way that you can just send it around the outside and have the grip and just make it work, right? You have more downforce, but it's not that much more. But you do have a lot more horsepower, and straights are a thing. If you learn how to pass on the exit of turns with slow traffic, you will be every GT4's best friend. And I don't know if any of you guys have gone to any of the clinics I've gone to about racecraft where we talk about karma. If I know you treat me nicely, I will treat you nicely. But if you're a dick to me, then I'm a dick to you. So if you're going to be behind me and just try to throw the car in and beat me to the turn while cars are turning, frankly, you can get fucked. Because I'm just going to turn and screw you. I don't care about your exit. I don't care anything about what's going on in your car. I'm just going to race now, please. And if you lose 10 seconds sitting behind me being impatient when you could have lost, I don't know, maybe 5 or less, or even less, if you just let both cars roll on their own, that's on you, boo-boo. Right? Not only are you the overtaking, like I could talk to you guys about the rule book and the passing cars responsibility and stuff until I'm blue in the face. But at the end of the day, you have a howitzer and they have a BB gun, and yet you're still, trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's silly. I saw it happen by a lot of cars on the outside of the quad apex on the third sector, 15 through 19. Bro. There were so many times where I just let my car sit in the middle of the road and said, if you want to drive a shittier line and almost drive off the road because you can't wait 2 seconds, that's a choice you can make. But if you want to let the guy in front get farther away because it's even more expensive, that's on you. Over the course of 50 minutes, if you do it correctly, you're going to lose 3 seconds? I'm not going to do the math, but I'm going to assume that's a way less than a single percentage point. Right? So it's net very, very little over the course of the whole race if you are smart with traffic. If you are dumb with traffic, you will find yourself getting eaten up out of every outlap out of the pits, out of every long stint you ever do. Right? Like, because you're going to waste operationally 15, 20 seconds. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, completely needlessly. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, what else we got? Oh, this is just a comment somebody said. Oh, you know what? This is a good comment. So, somebody brought this up to me over in the stream that I've got going on. They said so many of them would close up and it was like they were waiting for me to move. Nobody would go around or pass at the exit. I almost got torpedoed by someone who's trying to pass under braking. And I was like, yep. And he's like, and the GT4s had pace too, so it didn't make any sense for the GT3s to be so impatient. All they're doing is wasting money. That's just a random person on the internet who's listened to me talk a few times, right? Like a few times, and you guys have been listening to me talk for years. So, help me.
When's he going to join our league?
Right? I don't know, man. I don't know.
He needs to.
I'll reach out and ask. But yeah, man. Like that's the thing. It's like in a 20 car race, you probably won't notice it because you'll be driving alone for so long. But in a big enduro, that's what loses you races. Because you were just spending money. So. Alrighty. Let's see what else. 47-27. Okay, car 19. Hey, Frankie. Hey, Frankie, where'd you finish, by the way?
7th.
Isn't that like one of your best GT3 finishes?
Huh?
I feel like that's one of your best GT3 finishes.
It actually is.
Well, you know what? Really... Round of applause for Frankie.
I did okay with this race. I made a couple of mistakes.
Yeah.
Me and Wendell had a battle. It was fun.
Yeah, man. And I mean this with all the love in my heart. Not last. Awesome.
Exactly.
Completely fucking awesome. Like, I don't care how it happened. Hooray.
Yeah, no. Right? I timed my pits and I watched traffic.
Yeah, man. That is fantastic. Okay, so 47-27, my car. All right, you said a lot, so I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to watch it.
Yeah, that's
all right.
Now, I started defending way too early. I already know that. Looking back on it right now, I'm like, nope, shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I mean, you're lucky he didn't really do anything with what you did. But, yeah. Yeah, I think you did this fine. I mean, honestly, I think that the thing you... the thing that you need to be mindful of in the future is finish defending. Don't just open the door at the end. Right? So, okay, you went to the middle of the track. You've decided, hey, man, I'm going to protect my corner. You can either go more to the inside or you can get on the racing line and my entry's going to suck. right? Because you are off the racing line right now. You're either going to have to brake early to make the turn, and you're going to have to turn more when you get the bottom. So you're already deciding, hey, I am sacrificing any sort of pace for position. Make whatever choices you want. I would maybe in the future make this move a little more slowly, because you're traveling on 2 axes, right? You've got the Elliot, keep me honest here. You've got the XY axis going up and down, right? So you got the Y axis up and down, and you got the X axis left and right, right? So going down the straightaway, if you take your time going left to right, or you take your time moving to your defensive position gradually, that gives your opponent less time to make a strategic choice.
Yeah, that is correct. Okay.
Right? If you just pop right off and jump to the middle, like immediately out of the corner, like immediately in the beginning of part of the next straight, you are not only giving everybody plenty of time because there's nothing to do, right? We're just looking at your card on the straightaway being like, huh, it's in the middle of the road. That's weird. Huh.
Fun fact.
Right? What's up?
Just a little fun fact about that.
Yeah.
With that pop to the left, it's about 1% of your speed.
Yeah. So then there's the other bit too, right? It screws your exit momentum because you're moving, right? You're effectively scrubbing across the track as you do a lot of those things. So you want to do that motion as minimally as possible, not only for the tactical benefit of not giving away what you're going to do because you're telegraphing, but also for the momentum benefit because you're turning the wheel as you're going down the straightaway, and any turn is scrub. And that's bad, right? It might be marginal, but we're talking about a long straightaway with a car that's drafting you that you were already giving the advantage to by punching a hole in the air for him. So anything you do to slow yourself down is just helping him. And I'm going to get to the DT in a minute because we got to talk about that in a second. But let's just pretend that DT doesn't exist and we're just racing for position, right? So okay, we're racing. So you can decide here, what do you want to do? Are you going to go even tighter and just close the door completely? I mean, I would. If this car is coming in as fast as he's coming, I would go more left before he gets overlap on you. Because on a straightaway, any overlap is overlap. Like on an actual straight, not on the brakes going into a turn. On the straight, when we are going straight, right? Yeah. Any overlap is overlap. So once he gets up on you and his fender touches your fender, you can't move anymore. You'll crash and you'll die. Right? Yeah. But as he's approaching you, you can do whatever you can make your one move into the turn, right? So when I mean you can do whatever you want, you can be more aggressive on your defense if you want. Now, you can't go back. You can't weave. So you have to decide, okay, hey man, I'm either going to stay where I am and just take my cards as I've played them, or I'm going to go even tighter and make a bigger risk, basically trying to block the car out on the exit. I'm going to fuck your exit and my exit. Because if you turn at full speed from the far inside, you're never making the turn, right?
Right.
But what you ended up doing is you kept the door open, right? You gave this open area of hope. This is the primary reason so many people die, and this is why the Vortex's danger is a thing, right? They try to beat you to the turn when you were already in the turn. And unfortunately, almost no car ever works that way, right? Because how are you going to exceed the pace of the car in front when you're already decelerating and then stop and turn? Unless the guy's really good on the brakes, right? Carter, I did it to you in turn 11, right? I got on the brake early.
It was so effective,
right?
dude.
I got on the brake early to start my deceleration. Then I got off the brake so that I had less rolling speed into the turn, but had some. Made sure to roll up next to you and then got on the brake hard. And then you're done. But I shedded off a little bit of that speed early just so that I could manage next to you, right? Not to say nothing. This driver is not going to do that. So you need to make it super obvious for him. Bad dog. No. Right? And stop the turn. Because he's going to go. He's going to try to go. He's in his head, he's going to go, I think I could beat him there. I think I can make that. And you don't want drivers behind you to have that sort of optimism. Right?
Because on every turn he tried to take me.
Yep.
At the beginning of the turn.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, let's see if I can do this.
And this is expensive, right? Because now this car has to turn more. Right? This is like, in my world, this is my worst nightmare. Being here on the inside, so far away from the car next to me, is my absolute worst nightmare. Because you have enough sweeping room now that if I miss the turn, to sweep underneath me. So that sucks. And I have to turn the most when I get down here because I got to make the turn, and this turn is sharp as hell. So that sucks, right? Everyone grab their steering wheel and pretend to be in the BMW. Can you turn with just a little bit of steering? No. You got to put some wrench in that thing now. And if you have to put that much steering in, it should be a screaming alarm bell. I am going slow as hell. Right? That's bad. And when you're so far away from your opponent, he has time to look at you and be like, what the hell is this guy doing? Right? Because he can see you over here. He'll just look to the left and be like, what the hell is he doing? And I'll just wait to see if he misses the turn. If he doesn't, he'll be slow. Right? Because he can't go on the line. And if he does make the turn, oh wait, he'll be slow. Right? So that's a lose-lose there.
This is reminding me of that time I beat Grayson easily because he did that at Nordschleife.
Yep.
Burgering in the rain.
Yep.
That same type of turn, it just went right and it left, and I just pulled one over on him because I knew it was about to happen. So I just stayed back like Frankie did, and I just pulled one over on him.
Pull one over. Now, here, if you're going to make this move around the outside, you say, hey, I'm going to use some momentum and try to stop him. Hopefully in your head, you're thinking about turn 13. Because the strategy should always be, I need to put my car in a position where I have corner priority. The corner goes the direction that I'm on the side of. Right? It's not turn 12, because that's on the left and you are on the right. That's bad. Right? But on turn 13, you are on the right and the turn is on the right. So that's good. As long as you don't fuck it up. Because here, all I really want to do is like cover and crowd the apex as much as possible. Right? I want to be a nuisance here. Because if I overshoot the turn, he is on the racing line and you are not.
And I'm not.
Right? So that if you are now the inverse of the corner before. If you just shoot by this turn with a sausage serve on the inside, that will kill you, by the way. So PSA for knowing your track elements, because small things will murder you. But if you shoot past the turn, now you're dead. Right? Like he'll just cut underneath you and you'll just be gone. And then there'll be 2 turns right in front of that and you'll never get back. It's impossible now. Right? So you need to be mindful about that when you approach. To say like, hey, don't miss the turn. You were lucky he didn't try to attack you here. Right? Because a more experienced driver in this position would have said, I'm going from the racing line into turn 13 as fast as possible. And I'm going to crowd him through 14 and 15. And then I'm going to get off the gas in 14 and 15 when we have to trail brake to go right or go left, and just wait to see if he misses the turn. I did that to, I think I did that to Hans, right? You get to 15 and you know the car is going to not make it. So you just back up before they get to the turn and watch to see if they make it.
Wow.
Right? If they don't make the turn, it is a giant open, holy God, FIFA goal of just please make the turn. And you just do. Right? Because they're so busy trying to get away, they lose all their reference points. They're panicking now. And they're just like, oh, I gotta go. And then you see their lights not come on, and you're like, well, he's fucked. Right? Where a driver with some mindfulness will lift off the gas and really kind of crowd those apexes until we're in a place where I can get stable again. Right? Because all I'm trying to do is wait until I can get to a point where I have some good positioning. And then I can go. But it might take a turn or two because I'm compromised so much. Right? So,
That's nuts.
You know, to answer your question simply, did you do the right thing? Sort of, right? You know, the things that, like, this track is hard because the straight is so powerful, right? And if a car has a run on you in the draft, it's very difficult to know what to do. And you have to be either willing to take investments or sacrifices early so that you don't lose too much time on really bad lines for absolutely no reason, right? If you know, in the situation we had with Michael and Matt, right, if they were this close going in, I'm kind of trying to leave his decision to as late as humanly possible. Right? Because if he can choose early, I'm so dead. So I'm going to just kind of sit in the middle of the road, and I'm going to let him get as close to me as possible, and I'm going to move to the left, but just a little bit, right? Just enough to maybe try to hint to see if he goes left. Because then if he goes left, I can move a little more left, and then I can watch him again. It's a long straight, right? So I don't want to give up my one move completely by going full left. I'm dead now, right? But what you can do is, as you're coming up, you start your move gradually to the left and watch him. If he goes full left, move a little left more and see if he stays there. If he goes back to the racing line, stay where you are. Because now you've blocked the road. Right? You can't go back to where he is because that's weaving. But you didn't. You just spooked him out of trying to go to the inside by saying, well, I could defend this. I could do it. There's enough time. I could go full left. I could do it. And he'd be like, oh, I don't want that. Right? So he moves back to the racing line out of his own sense of wanting to carry speed in the next turn and tells you exactly what he's going to do so that you don't have to worry about him anymore because he's chickened out. He's come back. Right? And then you make the turn, you kind of cover the apex until you can get back on rhythm again, and then you pick up speed. But your car positioning is super vital there of being able to figure out what kind of driver you're working with. Right? Because there are other people that I know that I go a little bit left and they drive all the way into the red. And I'm like, oh, they're going to drive to the bottom? Then I'm going to be as aggressive as possible crowding them and make that hurt as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, I might actually even let them try to get ahead of me before we get to the turn so that I have the technical right to get back to the race line. You know? Like, if we're going into the same turn, this sharp left-hand turn, and I know this guy is going to just full sendo because he's just that guy. Right? He gets full left, and he's like, I'm going to the bottom. I'm going to get you on the brakes. Right before we get to the brake zone, I'm going to lift. Just a little. Because I want him leading me into the turn. So that I can go right back to the racing line and make the argument that he passed me before we got into the turn. Right? I'm not the lead car anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm the chasing car. So, great, because you passed me before we got into the turn. So I'm like, okay, brother, you want to go do that? You're already committed to dive to the bottom because you're the big balls man, right? You're the brave one. Look at you. Well, bitch, I need momentum. So I'm going to go back to the racing line and switch back underneath you because you decided to commit so hard. You told me exactly what you're going to do. So I'm going to let you do that, right? Let your opponent hurt themselves. Don't hurt yourself. Right? So that's why I'm staying on this for so long. It's just to give you an idea, Frankie, of like the multiple chess moves you can do in a situation like this, depending on the timing, right? Remember the SPT method, right? Speed, position, and timing. How fast are we going compared to the cars around us? Where are we positioned compared to the cars around us? And what is the timing of when we enter the turn compared to the car around us? Right? If we know those three things, you know what choices you can make. If you don't know one of those three things, you're guessing. That's why people in folks' blind spots make it impossible to go too wide with them. I don't know how fast you're going because I can't see you. I don't know your positioning because I literally cannot see you. And I don't know the timing because I can't see you, so I can't negotiate to make sure we both don't die. So I'm just going to turn because, I mean, you can see everything, so hopefully you didn't fuck it up for everybody. Right? I see nothing. So I'm just going to turn. Good luck, everybody else. Right? So, anyway. Okie dokie. I think that's it. Let me see if we have any more here. I got tagged somewhere else. Boo. Oh, people learning about expected racing. Yeah, for sure.
I didn't message it in because I was on my phone when I was eating dinner right now.
Okay.
But I just kind of want to know how I could have done it better. I know I was going against Brian Slater, right? He's a lot faster than me, but it was literally lap 1, turn 12.
Okay, lap 1, turn 12. I can find that. Boop. Where are you? Hey, there you are. Alright. Okay. Let's back up before the straight because I just want to see how we were here.
So, yeah, I just want to know, did I do this right? How could I have done it better?
All good questions. Ooh, good early lift before the brakes. That was smart. And see how you keep that rolling momentum up? You did that very well. Keep doing that.
So that's turn 11.
No, I know, but I'm still giving you a compliment for that. Okay. Right? The prelude is good. The reason you're able to do whatever the hell you're going to do before we even see it is because you lifted early so you could have rolling momentum through the turn. Don't get right up your opponent's ass so that the car ahead slows you down. Very smart.
Here he definitely faster than me.
Okay.
Was that too aggressive, or?
Well, it's too aggressive for where you braked, right?
Okay.
So here's the thing. I get the idea and principle, right? I have the draft. I'm trying to make my way by, but we got to think about the physics of the car decelerating and its deceleration rate. So you are off the racing line, so you can't brake at the same point as the car on the racing line, right? It's by a couple feet here and there, but you can't be next to them and brake at the same point of them and travel 2 different distances. That doesn't work, right? So you're never gonna make this turn in front of him unless he decides to just not turn because he's scared. But if he continues to brake on an ideal rate, he's gonna always lead you by just that little bit. So big risk area for you, right? Depending on the driver's awareness, blah 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 blah, right? If you were next to him on the way up, like 2x2, you can somewhat make this work. Because when you're next to him before you get to the braking, like actually, line of stern, then you can kind of brake a little early and then get off the brakes and then get back on the brakes and manage as you're entering the turn a little to stop him from turning in. Because he can see you the whole time, so you can just kind of, hey, here I am. But this is exactly what we were talking about the ABS systems in both cars are so good that you can't decelerate any better. Right? That was both of you on full brakes, maximum deceleration. That's the computer's doing all the work, nothing that you're doing, right? Your deceleration rate into that turn is 150 feet for both cars. So there's nothing you can... The only thing you did is you hurt your entry now because you're turning more and you're letting the car in front of you have rolling speed into a corner that goes his direction. So when he misses the apex, he can now position to take care of you. Right? Here, he won't go back to the racing line. Well, maybe he will because he's in front of you.
Yeah, he definitely got a better run. So
Yeah. Yeah, but the more you turn the wheel, the sadder you should be. So if you're ever in a turn where you have to turn the wheel a ton and your opponent isn't compromised in some vicious way, you're going to be sad. Because if they turned less than you just when they entered the turn, right? Like, even if both of you just looked at the steering angles of where you're at when you were turning, boop, and maybe steering ratio might affect some of this. But let's look at your car. Yep, and let's look at how much you turn the wheel. Sorry, I've got a really crappy mouse pad, so it makes it hard to sometimes. So this is very painful. That lot of steering there at the end, your tires hate you because they're just like, oh, lot of slip, lot of scrub, right? Brian, on the other hand, because he can't turn, does it for less, right? The amount of time that you held was like 1,000, 1,000. He just went in and out. So the amount of scrub in his tires is going to be less than yours. And he'll be able to just roll that, right? And especially because you're there now, he's smart enough to know that the apex is now shifted, right? His new apex is in the middle of the road because that's the maximum amount of available space he can use. So he'll just aim for the middle. That gives you race room because, he doesn't want to die. And you're able to make your way all the way out. And the corner widens up, so it allows him to do that, right? You can't really do that, for example, in turn 1 because turn 1 tightens. So I can't do that. If I miss the corner like that, I'm just going to drive over the turtles and then bounce in the air by the time I get to the exit. So I'm not going to accommodate you in that way. But in this case, sure, because it opens up wide at the end of 12, so you've got all this room to make sure I don't kill myself, and if I don't feel like going back to the racing line, I can just go in the middle of the road and you're covered. So it's all good. Try not to kill me next time, but it's all good.
Alrighty.
All right. Cool. Hey, Carter, are you still around?
Yeah.
Do you happen to know where I got you early on?
I think it was lap 4. I was kind of curious about that. I mean, I know how you did it. You mentally, like, I knew your tricks, but
yeah,
you still got me. Like,
yeah.
I knew what you were doing,
yeah.
but it just, you made it stick. Like, you did the fake thing.
Uh-huh.
You faked it to the left, pulled back to the right, and you pulled one over on me, I think.
So, here, I found it. So you get on the brakes, you get off the brakes, you get on the brakes. And then I can kind of manage with him until we get to the turn. And then he came underneath me, so we're fine. But it's that initial on the brakes, off the brakes, on the brakes. Like, all I really needed to do was roll up, because I'm so close to him on the entry coming out of 9. I'm so close here that all I need is a Mercedes worth of rolling distance covered up and then back to full brakes. And as long as he doesn't turn, I'm only aiming for Elliott because there will be open space at the end of the turn. And I can keep Carter out so that he can't turn. So on, off, you saw my brakes flash for a split second. That's all I needed. Right there. And then I get off the brakes. Done. right? And because I killed his exit, I know I've got him now because he had to accelerate up into my car and get off the gas, which means I'm always on the gas, which means I win. So now
I have a question.
Yo, what's up?
About that incident.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an incident, but so since he started turning in, and then you got off the brakes and sent it, this throws self-preservation out the window. But since he already started turning before you had any overlap, he could just turn through you and run into you, and it'd be your fault.
Totally would have. I was taking a big risk, right? Because I'm like, hey, you're exactly right? He could turn and sweep and make it all the way down. I just assumed Carter wouldn't. I've been watching him for a while, right? So, but totally, totally. I wouldn't do that on every single person, right? Because there are some people who would just sweep right in like I wasn't there, and then I would have hit the back of his corner, and then you'd be like, yeah, Davin, you turned in on me. Or, sorry, you hit the back of me. And I'd be like, yep, totally did. But I've been following Carter for 3 or 4 laps, and we've been kind of in these little interchanges with other people, and I'm like, he doesn't ever just go straight to the bottom. He kind of sits there and waits and then turns. I think I can get him. Right? It's that information gathering that we were talking about in the overtake clinic, right? I don't attack right away most times because I want to information gather with my opponent. And I'm fortunate that him and I are in the same car. So I have a lot of similar like-for-like data, right? He's in a Mercedes and I'm in a Mercedes. So I can be like, I do this, he does that. I do this, he does that. And I try not to attack him a lot in those opening corners because I need him to make moves without interference so that I can be more likely to predict what he's going to do. But Jacob, you're absolutely right. Like, I'm taking an educated guess and a big risk. And I'm like, well, I want to pass him, so I'm going. Yeah.
That's all fair game.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make that point to other people like that.
Yeah. 100%.
That, like when you send it like that, especially when you get on brakes and then back off again, which in a weird corner, like COTA's just so weird.
Yeah, it is.
But when you do that, the person in front, if they've already started turning, has what I've heard be called the right to kill themselves on you. And they're gonna be 100% right all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
They have the right to kill themselves on you and get you a penalty.
Right. Well, because they don't know, I don't know, or like Carter won't know exactly where I am. He won't know how much he would have to turn in order to avoid me. So by all risk, I'm taking all the risk. Because I could see everything. I could have not done that. And we would have been fine. So, Jacob, you're 100% right. The only reason I did it here is because COTA widens there on the entry. And I'm like, I think I can beat him there and have him see me. So, I trust Carter. I'm going to go. Right? Some folks, shit. I wouldn't trust him. Even if on the exact same run, 1,000 times I wouldn't do it. Because I'd be like, nah, man, he's going to do that. Or he's going to come and complain to me that I, am in his blind spot. Yeah. I don't need that grief.
Well, I can still do that. I can still complain that you freaking dive bomb me. No, see, I didn't go to the bottom because I thought, well, if I do that, I'm just going to have a shit exit or I'm going to nearly hit Elliott or whatever. It's like, there's the turtle curb right there. And, I've been screwed by that before. So it's like, that's kind of why I think, and also, this is one of those things like where Grayson dive bombed me at Alton.
Yep.
I just kind of didn't think it was coming, but also, you didn't have an obvious run.
Right.
So it's just like you said, it was a risk.
Yep.
Because I didn't think the run was going to happen, which is why I didn't defend even harder.
Right.
I think sometimes I did do that, and it worked because you weren't about to do the super move.
Right.
I held you back. I think in the second stint, that happened before I blew it.
Yeah.
We did that a lot.
We did that a lot, yeah. Well, and in this case, I was just risking the fact that you would see my bright car before you got into the turn, before you got to where the cone is, and be like, oh, you'll see me.
Yeah.
Right, but again, that's a risk. Like if you carry good momentum and are trailing or throw the car in there for some reason and can't change direction afterwards, well, we die and it's my fault, right?
Oh yeah.
But racing, so I'm going to take that risk and I will take the consequences of said risk, right? I'm not going to be that person that's going to say, oh, I'm going to dive on you, but if we crash, it's all your fault. No. I know I am putting all on red, but I want to go. So let's go.
No, that was interesting to me though. The technique that you use on the brakes. That's something that's kind of new to me.
Yeah.
Just seeing the way you do that, but you had to be close enough.
Really close.
Like 2/10 away.
Not even. Well, there's a lot of conditions that only make this work, right? So in this case, we're both in similar cars, so I can time the run. I'm really close to you on the way into the turn, and the entry is wider, so we have room to maneuver. Right? There's not like a peak turning like at the end. Like I wouldn't do this to you, for example, at the into 12, right? Because the turn in for 12 is much sharper than for 11. There's a giant wide open space in 11. So in 11, I can get off the brakes, turn to the bottom, and jump on the brakes, basically to park it on the apex as much as I can, and it can still make it there if I get the timing correct. Where on 12, no way, right? We just the road cambers down and would just pull me into you when I get down there. So I wouldn't do that. We're just gonna die, right?
Makes sense. You could have done it on turn 1 too, but
but like I don't like doing it on 1 because of the because of the way the tabletop flattens out and the turtles on the other side. Like I see a lot of people who do that on the bottom, and what ends up happening is that they end up running everybody out on the turtles, and then the car on the outside hits the turtles and then careens into you. So like you
do that thing like last night or Tuesday where Greg went just.
Yeah, where Ryan went just sliding in there, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, right? You can do it, but it takes a lot of confidence on the brakes. And I trust you, right? I've driven with you a lot. So I'm like, okay, hey man, I don't think that Carter's gonna make a chop. I haven't watched him chop for a couple laps here. I think we're gonna be okay. But like, it's not that I don't trust Casey, but like, for example, I wouldn't do it on Casey, because Casey moves around a lot. So, like, when we would go through 13, 14, 15, he always had a lot of oversteer, or his car was always shifting balance all the time. So I didn't feel as comfortable doing moves like that on him, because he could just be still trying to control his car. It's not that his car control is bad. It's just less predictable than yours was. So I wouldn't feel as comfortable. Like, he'd have a little snap or a wobble, not because he sucks, just because of the way his car is moving, and we could crash just because it was kind of bumbly. So I probably wouldn't do it on him. But you, I've watched for... Actually, I not only have watched today, but I've also watched in 2 days prior, and in all the practices we've done prior. So this is not the first time you and I have been through the turn together. And so I have a lot of references to go off of, because we've been practicing for a while. I mean, this is, PSA for a house of practice, right? This is why that move can work with people you know, but like to Jacob's point that, I want to lean on again, I wouldn't do it on a stranger, because I don't know him. So I don't know, if I went to like a SRA, Jackalicious, blah, 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 I probably wouldn't do this move so deep into the corner. I would do it like back here, right? Where we haven't done any turning action yet. So it's just a matter of how we slow down. With you, I'm like, I've raced you enough. I can make this fit, and he won't kill me. So.
Yeah. And if I even had that inkling of the thought, like Jacob said, like, oh, now I've got enough room to kill you and get your penalty.
Yeah.
Well, I have just cost myself. I mean, we're near the back of the GT4 grid at this point.
Yeah.
If we weren't, I would have cost myself a lot of positions. Sure, you would have got a penalty, but I would have been in a collision.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not saying it'd be worth it to do that, but some people will accidentally do that, and in that incident, it'll always be this person sending it at fault.
100%.
I'm just saying be careful in the people that are in Davin's position in corners like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Davin knows what he's doing, but that's such a rough thing, because I think the right to kill yourself is the right way to describe it.
I think you're right.
That's a really good way to describe it.
Yeah, I think you're right. All right. The other thing too that is sometimes worth it is like, there are times where people will start to do that move on me where they pop over, and I just pop over with them just to make them panic stop. Right? Because the only reason that I even tried to make this move is because you stayed on the racing line with Elliott. If you had moved over in any inkling, like if you had just moved over to the left just a tiny little bit, I wouldn't have even gone. Because I would have been like, oh, he's going to go to the bottom or do something to Elliott. I can't do that now. He's, taking up that space. But since you stayed where you were, I'm like, hey, I can do this. Right? Because once you got on the brakes, I can tell that you're not going to pop over anymore after that. And so I can take this gamble. But if you had positioned to the left as we made our way in, I would never have gone, because we barely had room as it was, so it's this positioning back here, it's this part here, it's literally the footage between here and here that tells me that it's worth the risk now, because once you get on the brakes, what are you going to do? You still have to make the turn, so you're not going to turn the wheel more and try to beat Elliott to the bottom of the turn once you're under braking. You can't. It's not possible. The best you can do is get to the apex. So if I can beat you there to the apex, then I can stop you from turning. But back to Jacob's point, I am taking a big gamble there. Right? Because if I get it wrong, you die. If I'm not carrying enough speed to do it, you die. Right? If I'm entering too slow, you die. Because I'll pull up on you, but I'll be on your fender rather than like on your door rather than on your fender, and we die. Right? So there's a lot of the I have to test this run a few times on you on the corners prior to make sure, okay, if I am at this RPM, at this speed, leaving turn 9, by the time we go through turn 11, I can do it, but I have to get the corners prior correct in order to have the momentum. I can't just do it because I feel like it. You've got to be moving at a certain speed, and I've got to be moving at a certain speed for the thing to even work. And then we can make that choice. So, like, 9 times out of 10, you'd never see me do it. But this one time, I was like, oh, I got it. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
There's so much that goes into it. That's a lot to think about, and it's a lot to take in. But I can see the events. Because
Yeah.
I wasn't moving. I was still there, and the room was there. If I had moved over exactly where you were, it couldn't have worked.
Oh, not at all. Yeah, and that would have been enough car positioning to be like, Davin, fuck off. Right? If you had moved to the left just a little bit, because especially, okay, this is just a personal principle of mine. You don't have to take it if you don't want to, but my personal principle is that if I'm not actively trying to attack the car in front, I can position myself to like protect the entry and do other things. So since you're not actively attacking Elliot, I can kind of expect for you to maybe just do a little bit of car positioning to kind of ward off the cars behind and other things, because you're not going to lose that much, right? It's just enough to discourage people behind to be like, stop it, I'm doing something. So in situations like this, sometimes it's worth to like wiggle over a little bit to the left, just a little, like half a car, not even, just enough to be like, hey bud, I see you back there, don't try that shit, right? And a racer that's any good will just go to the racing line and be like, sorry, right? We've run out of room in that little communication. While I tried to figure out what the hell you were doing, I've run out of the opportunity to do anything. I'm going to get on the racing line and get an exit with you. Sorry to bother you. But in this case, when you first got on the brake and I saw that your car didn't move to the left at all, I was like, I can make this. I can do this. I've gone in the brakes enough times here. I know where I can come out. And I'm not trying to beat you through the whole turn either. Right? A lot of folks try to get through the turn. And I'm not trying to get through the turn. I'm just trying to get to the apex and stop. I'm just trying to park it on the apex and stop. If I put too much steering lock in down here, I would understeer into you, right? And we'd collect each other up towards the podium sign. I don't want to do that. I just want to get to the apex and stop you. That's my only objective, right? And hopefully give Elliot enough time to roll out of the turn so that I can make it through. So hopefully he doesn't fuck up either. Yep. Alas, it worked this time. So hooray!
That's what fun racing's about.
Yeah, right. Well, and also we got to try, right? Like that's the thing that I still work my way through from time to time. Like I get so used to like trying to run people clean and try to make the passes clear and like all these other things that sometimes I give up clean opportunities to kind of send it and kind of make an opportunity happen. And so in these races are a great opportunity to practice that, of just like, fuck it, let's send it. What's the worst that's going to happen? We're going to slightly damage our cars that they're GT4s. They're just going to bonk. Let's try.
I mean, I don't know how Davin feels about this, but I think that everybody that's not comfortable really getting their elbows out in off-season races like this should try.
Oh, I agree. No, I agree. I mean, same with House of Practice, right? Like, House of Practice is a great place, and the off-season race is a great place. Race people really hard with the understanding of trying to learn what works, right?
It sucks because none of you race each other in House of Practice.
Yeah!
Do
that. Yes, do that. Race hard, and then go back and look at it. Don't just race hard and be like, oh, that was great, and then never review it because you didn't learn anything. But, I mean, shit, Brian and I run all the time together in House of Practice, and we will lean on each other's doors. Shit we would never do in the race. But it's beneficial so that when we do get into the race, I can be like, oh, I can pull that off. I remember doing that to Brian one time. Or, like, I remember that crazy cut I did down the inside of 9 one time. It's worth the track cut, but I carry more speed, and I'll have a run. I'm doing it now. And I don't use the race to experiment. I've experimented in a easy, no-risk practice session. So.
By the way, Davin, did something happen behind me going into 11?
Oh, I think that you got hit or something, or I got hit. That's a good question. Where we all kind of got in that clumsy thing together. That's a good question. Yeah. I think it was turns. Yeah, I know exactly.
Turn 11 is where things fell apart for that battle both times.
Yeah. Let's find out. Because, yeah, something...
When were you gain positions on both of us? I don't think there was a collision. At least I didn't
Yes.
give Casey that on.
Let's see here. Boop, boop, boop. Sorry, I got to poke around and find it because it was near the... Oh, okay, so then you're there and then you're not there. So it's probably here. Yep, it's here. So let's find out. So the part I do remember, and we'll watch this in a second, but the part I do remember is I was trying to crowd Carter because he got me out of the pit. So I was trying to crowd him to see if I could just make him do something silly. But after that, I think I just got opportune.
Yes, you did. I just don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I just don't remember. I just remember seeing daylight and being like, I'm going.
That move. You did the move.
Yeah, it was the mind punt. Yeah, and then here I kind of took advantage of Casey a little bit.
Yes, I knew I blew the corner.
Yep.
Why?
This is one of those, like, in GT4s, I'll take it and then try to see if anyone protests it, right? Because we're going down the turn together. I moved over.
Yeah, it's like I knew.
And I'm like, right here, I'm like, I don't know if Casey's going to avoid Carter or hit Carter.
I didn't see it, to be honest.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know, but I see your car turning in, and I'm like, I can get to the bottom, and the worst is he's going to drive into my door. I will sacrifice this door. Boop. Not the nicest thing in the whole world, but in the GT4s, I'll take it because the car won't it's not going to hurt me. So it's just like, boop. I didn't really turn into him. I just put myself in the way. I was like, okay. We'll go from there. You know, this is one of those ones that, honest to God, if you protested me, I would sit and decide, like, let the stewards decide what they want to decide. Right? It's one of those risks where I would say,
on me?
No, on me. Right? So.
Yeah, but that was also one of those, like, you're following the guy ahead of you.
Yep.
You're challenging the guy ahead of you. He went offline. That's almost similar as him coming back on the racing line from.
No. I mean for Casey. I mean for Casey. So I'm over here. I'm following Carter. Carter misses the turn. No argument there, right? And I got a turn, and there's a car here. If Casey wanted to, and he protested it, I wouldn't even be mad. I would just let the stewards decide what they want to decide. Because I'm like, there's a car coming at him. He doesn't know that I'm coming. Fine. He's got the right to turn the corner, but I've already kind of committed because I went to the bottom. Fine. We kind of touched panels to panels. Kind of upset him. Fine. But, like, fine. It depends on how mad he wants to be about it. If he doesn't care, because, like, sometimes I get run into in races, I don't give a shit. We just keep racing. And we move on. Right? If he doesn't care, great. Podium for me. If he does care, I'll take the risk. Run it to the end. Right? And in some races, it's worth to take the penalty and just, if you can open the gap up big enough, it doesn't even matter. I've had a few races where that happened, where somebody protested me and I got a 5 second, but I beat them by 6+. So it didn't matter. It just pulled me back closer to them, but I still stayed in the same spot. So in this particular case, I decided to keep going. If I had hit him harder, though, and he had spun away, I would have given it back. Because he would have made the turn fine without me being there. So, yeah.
If only.
Look, everybody hits me. Everybody hits me. I want to be able to do it every once in a while. That's kind of how I train it from time to time, right?
Man, if only you hadn't gotten out of your system on Tuesday, you could have hit him then, and I could have had that battle. Darn it.
Right. But I don't know. Yo.
When you're coming down.
Yeah.
If my thoughts are, what's that orange car doing? Like, where's he going?
Where's he going?
I'm thinking, he must be letting us by because he's way out of position. That's what my thought was. Like, what's he doing way over there?
Yeah.
Like, as we're coming in, and then Carter gets on the inside, and I'm there, he must be just letting us by.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, fuck, he's not.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, right, if you're Casey, he doesn't know that I'm coming because he probably doesn't see even Carter what Carter's doing. So he's just trying to turn, right? Like, and all I'm trying to do is make that collision as minor as possible. But like, he might be mad about that. But people get mad, right? And then I'll take whatever consequence that comes from that. But I'm not going to think about it anymore, right? If this is a Tuesday race and that happened, I would just keep driving until the penalty came up. If I get a 5 second, okay, fine. Let's build up 5 seconds. If I don't, great. P3 for me. Yeah. Right? No one's going to care or remember. So I'm going to go with that. Right? But again, I was taking risks today. I'm kind of in a bad mood, so we gamble. All right. Anyone got anything else? No?
Nope.
You guys gonna do more GT4 races? Yes? You should.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, actually, so I have a question for some of the folks who are here. So we did this multi-class idea because of the Enduro, but it's not a bad idea if we have a decent amount of cars show up. So
I was actually going to ask you, we should keep it.
yeah, I might make the Thursdays multi-class, and then just give you guys 2 options to run GT4 or GT3 and GT4. Because I mean, like, if we get 20 cars, there's enough that it's not completely boring, right? So I feel worse for the GT3s because I think the pace differences will be kind of big. But that's not my problem. Don't race GT3 then, I guess. Right?
And it's more multi-class practice.
Yeah, and it's more multi-class practice because some folks definitely need it. So, you know. Well, on both sides, to be frank. Like, there were a couple times where, like, I came up against some guys and I went, I know he's going to do the thing that I would rather him not do. I need to get practice letting that just go and not, like Jacob said, earn the right to kill myself, because this guy's going to run me over like an asshole. I might as well just let it go. Maybe he'll run the guy in front of me over. Right? I'd rather have that. So, okay. All right. I might make the rest of the multi-class to see how that goes. Because if we can get more GT4s to drive more regularly, then maybe we can have a couple more GT4 style events too. So there's probably an added plus there. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I'll be in for Thursday races, multi-class. I was going to ask too about the qualifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't read the rules, but I noticed qualifying was only 15 minutes. So how was that supposed to work?
So in the off-season races, every car that's on a valid lap is treated like they're on the valid lap, right?
Okay, I
so
mean, that's what I did, but I went out immediately.
Yeah, we're not gonna break them up. So we would have broken them up if we had done an in-season multi-class. We would have done like GT3 would have run for 10 minutes, and then GT4 would have run for 10 minutes, or like there would have been some sort of gap so that the cars could qualify in their own class, right? Okay. But the universal rule for all time, if you guys are ever confused, cars are on a valid lap no matter who they are. So if you run up against a car in another valid lap and they're in another class, don't try to pass them and ruin their time. And if you are going to do it, at least make the turn. Right? Like the reason I was so mad about mine is that I was 1.7 seconds up. I was running for pole in my class, and the car behind me completely blew the turn 2, and then I had no more time left. So what was the point of any of that? Fucked me, fucked you, and then I'm like, what? I was just like, I don't like you. Like, what is this? Right? So like, if you're gonna rob me, make the turn. Right? Like, God.
It kind of happened to me too with Thomas. He was in GT3, and I went out in a GT4. He dropped back like 10 seconds behind me, I think.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, like, and this is the outlap. He could have just passed me on outlap, but he dropped back, and he caught me on the very last corner.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to dive bomb me.
Yeah.
But he checked up at the last second, so I kind of sacrificed a few tenths there, 'cause I wasn't sure.
So here's the thing, right? Like on the fastest guys, GT4 to GT3, it's about a 10-second lap gap, right? So the fast guys in GT3s around here are doing 206s, 207s, give or take, right? The fast guys around here in GT4s, at least in our league, are doing 217s, 216s. So an easy way to think about it is if they are less than 10 seconds back and nothing happens to them, they will catch you by the end of the lap.
Yeah.
Right? Easy. And I know this is going to be a shocking statement for most of you, but most of y'all don't read. So you don't look at the timetable or the leaderboard to see what the slow cars were doing to see when you would catch them. So you just drove out as if everybody was in the same class together. So I'd see these GT3s 3 seconds behind the GT4, and I was like, the fuck is that all about? Literally, the GT4 is going to drive with its hair on fire. There's no way it's going to get away. So, what? Right? And then, like, or GT3 would catch up and then drop back like 5 seconds. And I'm like, that's still not going to happen. Like, you're just going to catch him in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to read and be like, that's, a 10-second gap front to back. Maybe I should completely bail the hell out of this and either not have a car in front or have a minimum of 15 to 20 seconds between me and the GT4 so I can finish my lap uninterrupted, and so can they. And then we have no problem.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And the GT4s, same logic applies. So I'm not going to abstain from them, right? When I went out on one of my laps, I tried to see if I could get out in a gap where like I was just kind of all alone. And there happened to be one car that I misread. And I was like, fuck, here I am. And I just had to go, right? But in a perfect world, I would look to find an open gap where there's like 30 seconds of nothing happening. And then I don't have to worry about it at all. And then you're all good. So, the lessons are for both classes. Don't just cut off GT3s because you want to go, but for GT3s, read. Don't run over the slow cars if they're on a valid lap.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Alrighty.
One of those GT3s.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, okay, and Frankie, I'll be honest with you. Like, this is not for you. This is just a good example. You're a slow GT3, and you're still going to catch me easily by the end of the lap if you run okay, right? And so that makes that timing even more important. I don't want a car that is going to kind of be in my way, barely getting in front of me, because it's going to take you a while for you to like get up to speed and get moving again, just like straights and stuff. And if I'm on a good flying lap and you're just fucking up the S's, then my lap's fucked and you're not having a good lap, and so nobody's really getting anything out of it. So even on cars that are, the drivers aren't near the front of the pack, I still don't want them around me. Now, in the race, I let them go quickly because I'm like when Thomas came up, for example, was a good example. I let that happen. I was the last car in that chain of 3. I let him go as soon as humanly possible when he got to me. Like as soon as humanly possible, that made sense where I wasn't going to lose the cars in front, where his car could physically sit between us. Because I was like, you already almost murdered me in qualifying. Maybe you'll do me a solid and murder the guys in front of me, and that would be nice. Right? Because he's in a GT3. He's going to be able to accelerate past all 3 of us no matter what we do. And I've seen bad car behavior in the past. So maybe Carter might get killed. Maybe Casey might get killed. Don't kill me. Kill them. So, and that's what helped me catch back up. Yeah. Yeah, in the mixed class, it'll help a lot, right? Because in the slower cast, it helped me catch those two, because Casey and Carter were close together, and I had I want to say 3 seconds between them and me. It was enough, and I was like, I need help. And fortunately, here's this rogue Australian that shows up and is here to help me. And so he just rushes up and runs into them, and he's fighting with them and I'm just like, yay! And I just catch right back up, and now here I am on the train. I'm like, that's awesome, right? If he does that to me, then that adds 3 seconds, and I never catch the guys in front ever. So I'm just like, hey, help me out, Ozzy. Like, oi, key.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So, do you think there was more issues in a multi-class like this because even though GT4, GT3, there is a big gap in speed, but because how close it is, it made it a little bit more hectic? Do you think it would be easier for the fast cars and the slow cars to give each other space if we were, let's say, running GT3s and the M2 in TCM?
Oh, man.
Or would that make it more hectic?
I think it would make it more hectic because as a GT3, you're going to catch more M2s really quickly. And so
it's almost like the prototype car versus a GT3, right?
Yeah, I think you'd want to go the other way. I think you'd want to have a GT4 and Cup car or something like that, where the laps are fairly similar together-ish, so that it's harder for both cars to close up on each other because they're generally going around the circle in the same pace. But when one super fast circle, I would rather do GT2s and GT3s together in a multi-class, because if you wanted to avoid the qualifying mess, because both of those cars can kind of lap in general-ish, same-ish paces, so it's hard to be interrupted. Where if you did GT3 and M2, where I'm going to pass 5 M2s by the time I finish my lap.
Well, for qualifying, yeah.
Yeah.
You mean even in a regular race?
Yeah, even in a regular race. So in qualifying, even if the GT2, if the M2 is 40 seconds up the road, I might still catch him, right? And that might be a problem if there are a lot of them, because I'm assuming it's the fastest M2, not even just a guy who's struggling. So you might have more of a problem. Yeah. Because we did that with the big grid race a couple years ago. We did a 90 car big grid race. And it was right when the GT2s came out. Yeah. We did it at Suzuka because you can hold 105 at Suzuka. And we did it right when the GT2s came out. And I drove a GT2, but there were also some STs and there's some GT3s and a few other things. And with the GT2, I was fine. The only cars I really struggled with were the really, really slow ones because they took forever to get the hell out of the way, right? But GT3 is fast enough to get out of the way. Cup car I could kind of manage, but I think there's Austin or one or two other people in the M2s, and I was like, oh my god, I'm seeing you every 5 minutes. Oh my god, please stop. Right.
Again.
Yeah, again, it's you again. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which has to be stressful for them too, right? Because they're doing their best. They're trying to be on the line. They're trying to get a lap in, and their lap is, I don't know, 240, and here I am doing 206. Fuck, man, might as well be in the Enterprise next to a school bus. Oh god. So, anyway, I appreciate you trying it. I'll go and I'll update the other events to multi-class now because there's no one registered in them, so they can just re-register and that's fine. But appreciate you guys showing up.
Sounds good.
All right, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, take care,
Good
everyone.
one.
Yeah.